Hello, my name is Ken. I'm recording this to talk about two things: ulnar impaction syndrome and an ulnar shortening surgery or ulnar osteotomy. I've had something called ulnar impaction syndrome for about the past year and a half, and when I was trying to diagnose my own problem, I couldn't figure out what the problem is because it's sort of rare and there's not a lot of information online. And when I did find the information, it was just a lot of horror stories. And I wanted to hopefully provide a more hopeful and optimistic chronicling of getting over an ulnar shortening surgery. So I'm about 12 hours away from undergoing my ulnar shortening surgery, and this has been a long time coming. Again, I've had this problem for about a year and a half now, and I'd like to talk about just kind of the origins of it. I started doing this workout video called P90X, and it had me doing a ton of push-ups, like several hundred a day, and I was doing a lot of the yoga, and it has you doing like a lot of like plank and downward dog maneuvers and all of that. And I began to have pain in my wrist, and I get to claim now that I suffered from the very manly yoga injury. Um, but normally when I'd get pain anywhere, I just give it a couple weeks and it would feel better. And that was true. It did feel a little better when I gave it some time. However, the pain always came back when I ever did any sort of load bearing activities. Whenever I lifted weights or just lifted anything heavy, I would feel some soreness. So it just wasn't going away. And 2 months go by, 4 months go by, 6 months go by, and still the problem is there, even though I'm giving it a ton of care and rest. And that's kind of the toughest part of this whole um, process. It was simply just not knowing what the problem was, constantly trying new things to fix the problem, nothing working, you're not knowing what the problem is. I ended up going to see my primary doctor, and we had X-rays done, and to her it didn't show anything. It was fine to her. So another 6 months go by, and I decide to see an orthopedic surgeon who specializes in the wrist. And he took a look at the X-rays, and he saw something called a positive ulnar variance, and that's where your ulnar bone. We have two arm bones, and here's the ulnar bone here. It goes from your elbow kind of to your pinky. And a positive ulnar variance is where the ulnar bone is too long. Sometimes this results from someone who, at a young age, experienced a problem with the radius or radial bone here, and this kind of stopped growing, but the ulnar bone kept growing, and all of a sudden you have an extra long ulnar bone. In my case, I never suffered an injury like that. I was just born with an extra long ulnar bone. And when it's too long, it begins to complicate things with the other smaller bones in the wrist area. And mine was just kind of freakishly long. Typically, they want to take, in a surgery, they want to remove 2 or 3 millimeters. Mine, they wanted to remove about 5 millimeters. So the injury for me, it kind of comes down to just feeling pain doing everyday things. I used to only feel pain when I would try to do like lifting barbells or doing push-ups or pull-ups and stuff like that. So I just kind of cut out those things. However, over time, ordinary things began to cause pain, like doing the dishes, or cooking, like holding like a pan and stirring it up. That would cause pain, and by the end of the day, it would be sore. And it was a pain and a soreness that never kept me up at night. It was never that painful, but it was something that was just kind of continuous, and I knew that I couldn't go back to my ordinary um, lifestyle, my very active ordinary lifestyle, because of this degenerative injury. Um, so anyways, when I found out what the problem is, pretty much the main solution is called an ulnar shortening surgery or an ulnar osteotomy, where they cut your arm open and cut out a small part of your ulnar bone, and then they push the bone together, use a plate, and screw you in, and I'll be in a full cast by tomorrow afternoon. And they say the recovery is about 3 months long, so I hope to do just kind of a few updates over the course of these 3 months, and hopefully provide a positive account of getting over an ulnar surgery. There's a few online where they're either ongoing recoveries or they take 15 months long. I really hope that's not the case, because I've already been dealing with this problem for about a year and a half. And just to kind of take account of my feelings going into this, I thought this was going to be a moment of relief, because I've been waiting for this surgery for about 6 months now, ever since I kind of had the problem diagnosed. But just in these past few months, I've been experiencing the same sort of problems in my right arm, and I realized I'm going to need to do this surgery all over again. So I was expecting relief for finally getting this process going, but it seems that this is not the end or the beginning of the end, but the end of the beginning. um, and, uh, and surprisingly, I'm feeling pretty calm and not too nervous at all. So I guess I'm just feeling optimistic and hope things will work out okay. So I think that's about everything. Come back in a couple weeks and I should probably have an update. I think I'll be in a heavy cast for about 10 days, and then they'll remove it and take my stitches out and put me in a less restrictive cast, and that sounds like a pretty good juncture to provide another update. But thanks for following, and I hope this helps someone who's had this problem, is having trouble diagnosing this problem, someone who's thinking about going through the surgery. That's my intent in making this little series. So thanks a lot, and talk to you later.